If you weren't aware, in the last year, quite a few changes have happened for F1 student visa interviews for coming to America, and these impact how you get interviewed and whether you get approved or not. So, Mandy, let's talk about these big changes. And the first one is the ability to apply earlier. How does that work, and what does that mean for our friends?
Yeah, so in the past, students had to wait until 120 days before their program start date, before they can go into a US embassy or consulate for their visa interview to get that F1 visa stamp. But starting last year, the State Department actually made the change to give students more flexibility. They know that there were a lot of backlogs after the pandemic, that students can actually now start applying earlier. They can apply up to 365 days before their program start date so that they can make sure that they're prepared. And Rob, I don't know if you've seen the visa interview wait times for India right now, but it is crazy. Students are having a
Yeah.
really, really difficult time. And so, if you're planning to study in the US next year, the year after, just know that you can actually start this process a lot earlier than you used to.
Yeah, I know students ask me, hey, when are slots going to open up? Or if we've been denied, when can we apply again? And also they ask, hey, when's the right time to apply before our class start date? Any thoughts on how far out advance people should apply to be whatever is most helpful?
Yeah. So the thing is, visa officers these days know that students can apply way earlier. And so, because the backlogs are just so crazy everywhere around the world, I would recommend that you apply as soon as you're within that 1 year window. And of course, there's other considerations that you have to take into account. Like a lot of DSOs at your universities don't necessarily have your I-20s ready. They're still
Mhm.
operating on the old timeline of, oh, they just need to get it to you 4 months in advance. So if you can talk to your DSO and get that I-20 earlier, I would say why not just apply earlier rather than later, because visa officers actually can't approve your visa if they don't think that you're going to be able to make it to your class on time. So for some of these scragglers or procrastinators like I am sometimes, if you wait to the last second and you only have a week between when your classes start and when you apply for your visa, the officer may not be convinced that you'll make it to your class on time and may deny your visa for that reason.
Yeah. And as we know, denials are happening more and more. So it's even good to have even that extra time. Don't do it just a week or two before your classes, but in case you get a rejection, you still maybe want a month or two to be able to apply again or make those changes so you can still make it to your course start dates on time.
Yeah.
My friends, we've got more changes to cover. So if you want to learn what else has changed, stay tuned. Hey friends, welcome to Chine Coaching. I'm Rob, and at Chine Coaching, we love helping you thrive and succeed in your cross-cultural journeys. Today, our focus is on visa interviews, immigration, and helping you come study abroad in America, especially as an F1 student. We've seen big changes happen in the last year, the last few months that impact these visa interviews, and we have a great guest for that. Welcome, Mandy. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mandy Feuerbacher. I am a former U.S. visa officer. And when I worked for the State Department making these decisions on visa interviews, I interviewed over 100,000 people. So I have a lot of experience in understanding how you can succeed at your student visa interview and all other visa types, actually.
Yeah, so much great experience, and you've helped so many people. We're going to look at these changes and also give some tips and resources at the end to help people be best prepared for these changes. But the next one we want to cover is the Foreign Affairs Manual. I don't know what that is, so tell us, what is the Foreign Affairs Manual and how has it changed and why is that important?
Yeah, so the Foreign Affairs Manual is basically like the legal guide that US visa officers consult to decide if somebody is eligible for a visa. And it does change from time to time. And I think one of the most exciting changes for students is that a couple years ago, the State Department decided that too many F1 visas were being denied and basically cautioned visa officers to not require as many ties for students because, if you know the visa interview at all, you know that you have to demonstrate non-immigrant intent. You have to demonstrate that you're only going to be in the US temporarily. You have to demonstrate that you have a home in your foreign country, that you don't plan to leave, and that you have things that will bring you back to your home country. Well, the State Department decided for students, they're not going to be quite as hard. They're going to understand that as young people that you have your careers in front of you. Perhaps you don't own a house yet. Perhaps, you don't have the same ties as someone who has been working for decades in their home country, and that's okay. But the reality is, in practice, even though the guidance has changed to visa officers, what we're seeing from the numbers is that they're still denying as many students as they have, and actually more. I think last year they hit an all-time high for the number of students that were being denied their F1 visas. And so I think that the good intention is there by the State Department to require students to prove less of this non-immigrant intent, but in practice, we're still a ways away.
Yeah, that's an interesting change. How what they're encouraging certain situations and decision making, but we're still seeing high denial rates. So it's still kind of working out into the system, and how that's going to impact people. So that's really fascinating. Another one is that we're seeing is because of the backlogs and just how many visa interviews have to happen. It seems like visa officers are having less patience for complicated situations. So what does that look like? What is a complicated situation, and how does that going to impact someone's interview today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, visa interviews are happening really fast in busy countries like India and China these days, certain African countries as well. And so, what we're seeing is that students are getting about 30 seconds to speak at their F1 visa interview, which is extremely, extremely short. And so, if you're someone with a more complicated situation, which I would include, if you've had a visa denial before, if you have family members in the US, if you are studying in the US but on a student loan, if you have a pending green card application, any of these circumstances and more can constitute a complicated situation that's going to require, more explanation from you. And when you only have 30 seconds, it's difficult to fit in. And so I think what we're seeing from visa officers is that the second they see that, oh, this is going to be complicated, if you're not properly preparing yourself to help them understand your situation within that short time frame, they're just like, okay, I'm just going to deny, because easier to deny than to take a long time to figure out your situation, because they are receiving commands from their managers that they have to go as quickly as possible, no delaying or, spending a lot of time on one case. So it's very, very important, if you do have a more complicated situation, that you're preparing the right way to take advantage of the 30 seconds you have.
Yeah, that's crazy, and I think even a little discouraging to hear, but it's good for people to know that if you do have a complicated situation, you are high risk. That, yeah, it might lean towards denial if you're not ready and coached well and prepared to communicate and kind of almost declutter your situation so it goes from complicated to easy. It's your job to make it easy and understandable to the visa officer, because it sounds like right now they don't have the time for that. And if they don't understand it, the easy thing for them to do is deny, which we don't want to see happen with you guys. So that's, I think, really helpful and important for people to understand.
Absolutely, Rob.
Friends, if you're learning a lot in this video, hit that like button to say thanks and cheers to Mandy. I know I'm gaining some new insights as well. And our chai question for you friends who are watching is, where did you get your college admits? Which colleges did you get your admits from? We'd love to see. Let us know in the comments. Tell your colleges or the degree programs that you're going for. We'd love to see what's being represented in our community, which universities you guys are targeting, are going for your interviews for. And let's celebrate that and also help you guys get success with these visa interviews as well. Okay, Mandy, so we've explored some of these big changes, like the ability to apply earlier, the changes in the Foreign Affairs Manual, also how complicated situations are going to have less patience and more scrutiny. And so, yeah, what are some key takeaways on what people can do to adapt, to change, and be better prepared for these changes that are happening?
Yeah. So, Rob, after interviewing over 100,000 visa applicants, and then now as an immigration attorney, really working with students on how to prepare for the visa interview, I have figured out that students just need to get the right information before their first interview. Or even if your visa has been denied, you still need the right information. And so, what my partner Travis and I have created, we're both former visa officers, is the most comprehensive F1 visa interview online course that's ever existed. And so what we've broken down in this course is it's about 5 hours of video lessons, me talking just like this, teaching you about the visa interview, teaching you what visa officers are looking for, because even though those interviews are short, there is still important information that they're seeking from you to help them make a decision. And so your job at your visa interview, like Rob mentioned, is to make the job of the visa officer as easy as possible to approve your visa. And you just need this foundation so that you're ready for the interview. I work with a lot of foreign nationals, who will book time with me and it's 30 minutes or an hour. And we just decided it's still not enough time to go over these complicated concepts. Like, how do you talk about your funding? If you got a student loan, how can you share that with a visa officer to convince them that, yes, you're going to be able to pay those back? How can you talk about having family in the US and how you still, don't have immigrant intent? How can you talk about why you selected your school? All of these very common questions that I get from, students, and I find myself saying the same things over and over again in consultations. And so what we have done is do a deep dive on every single one of those questions in this comprehensive course. And my favorite thing is we even have a 43-minute video that walks you live through a DS-160 visa application, where we fill it in and we talk about each question. What were the common mistakes we used to see as visa officers that would raise red flags during your visa interview, and how you can avoid those mistakes? And so, again, I just think that this course is so important for anybody who's interested in studying in the US, so that you're doing it right from the beginning. Because, most people don't know this, but every time you have a visa interview, there's detailed notes taken about the interaction that you have with a visa officer. And so the more visa denials that you get, the more difficult it is to get your visa approved in the future. And that visa record lasts forever in the US government system. So you definitely want to make sure that you're doing everything right from the beginning and not just going in there unprepared.
Yeah, I love the depth and details that your course goes into, like filling out the documents, because documents, getting them all right is really important. And also just how to craft those answers in the way that the visa officers are looking for it, and providing those helpful mock interviews. Like, this is, I'm sure, what so many people are wishing, the kind of guidance, because most of the things they're getting online or back in their home countries are not based on the reality. And a lot of people are getting bad misinformation, getting fed these bad scripts on what to say at a visa interview, which is resulting in these quick denials. And we want to fix that. And to also hook you guys up who are watching, especially here at the end of the video, we've got some special gifts for you guys. First is Mandy and I, we've made a special free PDF download, kind of a guide of the whole F1 visa student and visa interview process, kind of A to Z. It's kind of a great overview to make sure you're on the right track, which the course goes deeper into, but then also the most common visa interview questions, making sure that you're prepared to answer these questions and in the right way. So we want to hook you guys up with that to at least give you steps in the right direction. And then also we're giving you a special discount code for this course, because we want to make it accessible, because we know how valuable this is, because it's so important to get these visa interviews right the first time. If you don't prepare properly, you get denied. It's so hard to come back from that. We've seen more and more denials. Last year was record numbers. We want to help change that. And so we've got a discount code for you guys as well. We'll have the links to give you guys these downloads, these discounts for the course. Check them out. Please see if these would benefit you. Because the whole goal is giving you the right information, the right direction, the right steps, so that you can be prepared yourself and accomplish that success, those goals, so that you can reach to that university, which you've been working so hard for, and that we don't want this visa interview to be the thing that gets in the way. So, Mandy, yeah, what are the ways that these are really helping people so far?
Yeah, I mean, so far, I think students really love that not only do they get to work at their own pace on this course, if there's a challenging lesson talking about finances, you can review that, whenever you want to. The other thing that is really helpful for students is you actually get exclusive access to me or my partner Travis. We're both former visa officers and immigration attorneys, and we host these exclusive question and answer sessions every couple of weeks for our course students. And so if you've taken the course, but you still have any lingering questions, or you just want to pop in for a mock interview and see how you're doing and if you're on the right track, that's provided to people who purchase our course. And one of my favorite things about the course is that I actually do a lot of examples of what a good interview looks like and what a bad interview looks like. And so not only are you taking our coaching tips into consideration, you can actually see them play out in practice. What does that look like? And so hopefully this will help you on this visa journey so that you can get started on the right path. You're not being, working on misinformation or bad information that's going to get you a visa denial. You're investing in your future by just spending a couple $100s so that you can have access to live former visa officers, but also understand the foundation for how visa officers make these decisions and what exactly they're looking for so you can give them what they need to make this decision.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I hope you guys will consider this. Take the small investments that are going to open the doors to your dreams and goals in the future. My friends, Mandy and I also recorded another amazing video on why more and more denials are happening among F1 visa students. That's right, the numbers have been increasing. There was record numbers of denials. So we tell you why, what are the top 3 reasons why visas are being denied, and then what to do differently about that. So check that out. We'll have the links for that above and below as well. So check that video out as well. My friends, also for more tips and resources, you can follow us online on social media like Instagram, LinkedIn. We put great content, more free resources there as well. Be subscribed to our e-newsletters. Again, we really want to help you guys thrive and succeed, be the next success stories. We're so thankful for you being part of this community, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody.